All right, I think we are live. Let me just make sure we're all smooth and everything with the connection here. All right, looks like we are live on Facebook as well. I'm not seeing a YouTube stream here for some reason. Let me just make sure that's going right here. Oh yeah, there I am. Not okay. Awesome. For some reason the preview's not showing up, but that's okay. So yeah, welcome everybody to today's live stream event. Today I'm going to be walking you through a photo study kind of like the one you're seeing here on the screen that I did yesterday, that I did as part of the Evident Study Challenge, the Evident Design Study Challenge that's on the Evident platform. If you're interested in checking that out or submitting your own work, anyone can sign up. You just go onto the platform at evident.com. That link's in the description down there, and go to the design group, and there's more details there. There are prizes for winners and everything, so it's a lot of fun. And for me, and it's a excuse to be putting my photo study skills to the test. And today I'm also going to be experimenting with some new brushes I've been working on. If you've been following what I've been doing recently, I have been working on my own brush pack, and so it looks like there's some interest for that already. If that's something you would be interested in, please feel free to drop a comment and let me know. Or if you have any suggestions on what you would like to see in a brush pack or in one of these live streams that I do every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please drop a comment and let me know. So for those of you following along, feel free to just while I'm going, or start your own, or just watch and comment as you need. I'm going to pull up this window here. I'm going to look for a nice reference photo for today's study. And the theme is mushrooms, so I'm gonna try to find a nice. Ooh, this is really cool. I love the lighting in this, and there's there's some really fantastic colors going on. This is on unsplash.com, by the way, which is one of a few sites that host some really nice high quality stock photo materials for free. And so that's a really great resource if you're unsure about copyright issues or anything like that. And so let's see. I think we might as well just go with this one. Let's just download. Let's put it in my references folder that is so carefully organized. I'm not even sure what this is. It's not an animal. Where do I put my other mushroom photos? Let's just say it's an animal. Or maybe texture. Yeah, I have some. There's some other mushrooms there. I'm just gonna put it here, and we'll sort this all out later. Right here. Perfect. Now what we can do is pull this over to the side, and I'm just gonna drag this into our Photoshop window here. Boom! Look at that. So now you know where that photo is. If you want to follow along exactly with this stream, you can do that. or you can find your own photo for the study. Doesn't matter to me. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this off to my reference screen off the side here. And let's see, maybe I can actually create a new display capture here. It appears I can't do it for the other monitor. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. Unless properties. Well, I'll always figure this out some other time. Anyway, you'll just know it's there for now, and I can bring it in, and we can compare them whenever we need to. So yeah, let's get going here. All right, so first thing I'm gonna think about is what the dimensions for this image are. And we want to create a canvas that's as close as possible, and that's gonna be pretty important just as a baseline, because a lot of what we're gonna be doing is looking at individual shapes and negative shapes, and those are all relative to the edge of the canvas. And so if your canvas, I've seen a lot of student work with this kind of issue where they'll start with a canvas that's a different size, and then they'll try to be mapping out these shapes, and it'll end up everything will be disproportionate because they're trying to use the edges of the canvas as reference points, and it's all off. So I'm gonna guess this is about a 16:9 ratio. So maybe a little bit between that and 4:3, or maybe it is 4:3. Let's try. Let's see. We can actually just set up a ratio of 16 or 16:10, something like that. Set it at 300 DPI. See how that looks. Of course, it appeared over here. We're gonna have to try this again. I have some issues sometimes with my my scrubby zoom when it opens up in a new window. So we're gonna try to make it appear here. There we go. Now my scrubby zoom's working, and more towards 4:3. So let's just expand this out a little bit. You can see the. Or maybe it isn't. I think this is actually zoomed in a little bit. Yeah, pretty close. All right, let's make a new layer. And see, I'm just gonna set up my my streams and on the side of the window here. Whoops, what did I do here? So many windows to keep track of. All right. It's the curse of the digital medium. All right, let's get going here. We're a little behind schedule, so we can dive right in. I'll show you some of the brushes I've been working on, and in my brush pack here, I have. See, it looks like I have about 7 at this point. And so I'll just we can kind of see what they do as we move forward. But the first thing I'm going to want to do is, because we want to just sort of eliminate all this white space right away. So let's go to the gradient tool, because it's always a nice way to start something like this. And I'm just looking at the predominant colors in, you can kind of squint your eyes and sort of look at what you feel like the main colors are for each half of the canvas. And it doesn't really matter so much what you start off here, but it's just good to have a gradient going. And I'm seeing a nice gradient between the blue light from the sky and the green foliage underneath. So that's going to really help us set the tone. And it's also, this is a very cool backdrop, which is going to help us, you can see in the thumbnail here, it's going to help us sort of contrast well with the warm sunlit areas of the mushrooms. And I also want to show you something here that I'm observing right off the bat. With a lot of organic things, there's this subsurface scattering that occurs. The mushrooms are actually partially transparent, so you can see that the sunlight is not only hitting the top and reflecting off towards us, or hitting the top and reflecting underneath the mushroom, but it's also coming right through and giving them this nice saturated red, which is really, I think, what makes this photograph pop so well. I mean, this dynamic between the cool background and these nice warm reds and yellows. And that's something I want to be conscious of in any study, is right at the beginning, noticing what the different color dynamics are and how I can push those even more. So I think what I'm going to do is, let's try out something here. I don't even know if this will work, but this is a watercolor brush I kind of set up. And if I turn off shape dynamics here, maybe it's not the right one. Let's just go to our round brush here and turn off shape dynamics. This is actually this is a brush that I'm planning on making anyway, just for this purpose. It's a really useful application for creating photo studies and stuff like this, because the objects in the background tend to get sort of blurred out with this sort of bubbly effect here. So what you'll notice is a lot of stuff like this, and maybe the edges are a bit softer. We can actually turn on, this is going to be sort of what we might expect from a brush like this, but these wet edges, and we can always go back and blur this a little bit if we need to. But I'm just noticing a lot of different nice different variations in the background color here. We have some really nice purples, and just turn down this minimum for the transfer so we can really be a bit more nuanced with it here. And then we do have a lot of these greens in here as well. It's just sort of a fun way to start. We have some nice brighter greens as well up here in this corner. Some other ones over here. And then I think overall, let's just go in with a soft round brush. And I probably should have saved that other one, but it's okay. Can actually set this on multiply, and we'll get a nice darkening effect here. Just trying to generally map out the values that I'm seeing here. Looks like sounds like Boga's trying to get out of her tank and explore today. So fair warning. Oh, I have a bearded dragon named Boga, by the way, if you haven't if you're not familiar with me personally. And she's a lot of fun most of the time, but sometimes she can be a bit of a pain. And I think today she's gonna be unruly. She often does that when she either needs to poop or already has pooped, so I'm guessing one of those two things has happened here. At the risk of giving you too much information, let's go back to some of these brushes I put together so I can show them off. This is a nice dry brush here. This is going to give us some nice baseline texture. I'm sure many of you experience similar things if you're working or trying to create art from home. I'm sure there are all kinds of distractions around, and that's like it's a pretty big part of being trying to do creative stuff like this. There's always distractions around you, so. Not really too concerned with how this is all showing up at this point. I do want all of this to be a bit blurred back here, so maybe let's try something else here. I have this nice mixer brush that we can use to lay in some background details here. I don't know if all of this is really syncing up, but I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just trying to create a lot of nice color and shape variety here. I'm trying to match what I see in terms of different variations I see in the reference photo. Seeing some sort of light beams that are showing up here towards the top. There's even a little bit of green in there as well. Maybe a bit darker than that. Some cool greens, some warm greens, there's just so much color variety in this image. Let's just keep pushing those colors though. Make sure we have a lot of nice saturation around here, because I'm seeing a lot of that in the reference photo. We can't forget our warm yellows here and there. That's important. Seems like there's a nice big yellow spot here. Maybe some other ones around here. It's just hitting me how useful that brush I was planning on making would be for this. But you know, even if you're more of a traditional painter, you know, this is a strategy you can use. You know, I'm not being too specific with the marks here. Just kind of trying to create some general information that we can work from as a backdrop. Just gonna can click on the other image and compare your thumbnails. I'm seeing a lot more saturated blues in the other image, so let's just create some of those. Maybe a bit of really bright ones up here. Yep. And there's a big dark spot over here. Just bring out that mixer again. Like a nice big stroke. I think there's another, it's kind of a purplish one right over here. Yeah. There's a little bit of purple over here too. It's a bit brighter though. All right. Now we don't have to go in exactly the right established order here. I think I might even return to this area and create some blurring effects to really give this some convincing photo realistic qualities. Right now it really looks like a painting, and maybe that's the look you're going for, so you don't have to make any adjustments later. I tend to like to, once I have all the colors and shapes and everything set up right, I like to go back and give it some nice, kind of fine-tune the realism a little bit. There's that smudge tool. Can take a lot of CPU power sometimes. But it's pretty useful. I know all of this isn't totally accurate at this point, but I'm just going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to create another layer actually, in case I want to go back and blur some of that stuff out. Let's go back to our mixer brush and let's just start laying down some color around here. I want it to be nice and warm wherever the sunlight is hitting it, and cooler where it's not. Looks like there's some interesting little white splotches around here, so maybe we can just kind of cue them in as some little things here, little circles, since we don't have the brush for it. If I was really prepared, I would have made it ahead of time, but we're just going to work with what we have here. Sort of imitate that effect. Because, you know, the viewer's not going to really know the difference from a distance. Alright, looks like there's some dark purples around here. So let's just go ahead and get some of that stuff in. I'm kind of like squinting my eyes a little bit. I'm looking at these shapes. Yeah, you want, at this point you want to be looking for big shapes of color. Not all the little details. You save that for later. You hear that? There she goes again. She won't stop till she comes out either. These reptiles have this fanatic determination sometimes. That's okay. She's just telling me she needs something, and I have to take a break here and help her out. I'll be back in just a minute. Actually, I might as well introduce you guys, since you're tuning into the stream so regularly. This is Boga. I don't know if you can see. There she is. She's beautiful. She can be very annoying sometimes, but she's a bearded dragon, and she's about this big. And she's probably just gonna hang out here on the desk with me. So I'll just put her over there for now, and we'll go back to the stream. Hey Katie, just to answer your question real quick, I have the reference photo set up on a different monitor here, so I'll show it to you real quick. This is the one I'm working on. It's a beautiful photo. I don't know if I'll be able to capture this these beautiful colors, but I'm gonna try here. Yeah, she's pretty sweet. She's, you know, I feel like everyone who has a pet knows that you love them or you hate them, or both. It's always a little bit of both. I definitely don't hate her, but she tests my patience, and I can't blame her either, really. You know, it's probably hard being a reptile in a human's world. It's hard enough being a human in a human's world. They're not really built for captivity so much. Actually ended up adopting her from a college student in the area who wasn't taking very good care of her. So I have a few reptiles actually that I've adopted from various different circumstances, and they're great, and I love creating these. Maybe I'll show you guys sometime. I actually have a whole Instagram channel for my reptiles, if you ever want to check it out. I just post little things that they do throughout the day, and mostly them eating things. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I don't think they're really designed for captivity, but I do my best. Do my best to keep them happy. So let's see. Add a little of this brightness over here because I'm seeing that in the reference photo. There's some over here. I want to capture that warmth that we're seeing. So I would, I'd set up what you can do if you don't have another monitor is you can set up your reference photo. I can show you real quick actually. Maybe we'll work in that format since we don't have to do many details right now. This is how I used to work a lot of the time, and it works okay, especially if you have a big monitor like I do. You can go to View or Window, Arrange, and for a wide one, I would say you could do the horizontal, and you can choose how you want them set up. You can have the reference a lot smaller, or you can have them the same size if you find it hard to scale things. That can be a little difficult sometimes to change the proportions of the size of things while you're working. But I gotta balance the coffee with the water, so I'm gonna get dehydrated here. So yeah, you can see already. I mean, there's some pretty clear differences between these two, and I'm noticing. Let's go up to our soft brush here. I'm just noticing some saturated blues that I really want to be present here in the top. Whoops, that's another risk of having this arrangement. Sometimes you'll accidentally click on the tile there. I guess you can't really get rid of that, but it's okay. We'll just keep moving through this. There's some nice saturated blues around here, blues and blue greens that I really want to make sure are present, and some blue violets as well in here. Just really nice. And the soft brush will help to give everything some unity as well. Let's go back to our blues here. just get those really bright saturated blues up here. All right. We don't want to go too soft because we want to keep some of that texture in there. But let's go to a brush I've been working on recently, the Big Thick. This one's really great for just creating some nice implied texture. And I'm gonna raise it to, I'm actually gonna push it a little bit more towards the blue because there's some, the moss that's in shadow here is catching some of the light from the sky, so we're gonna want to make sure that's well represented. And let's see, what else can we do? Oh yeah, I have this other brush here. This one's kind of nice for creating little areas. Can be a bit slow at the higher resolutions, but it's definitely something to consider here. And you know, let's see how. I don't think we really need to have this at this higher resolution for a photo study, so we can actually drop that down. Yeah, we have width of 48 to 100 pixels here, and we definitely don't need that. That's more than anyone's going to see in their monitor. That would be more if you wanted to do like a big print of this, and that's not really my intent with this. This is all about learning, so maybe we'll drop it to 2500, and that'll resample automatically. And that'll help us to get a bit more flow, less lag with our brushes. Oh, and there's this issue with the scrubby zoom brush. For some reason, in the newest update of Photoshop, will randomly turn off, and that's going to be an issue. So I'm just going to save this real quick. And study 15. Just going to X out of this, reopen it, and hopefully that'll, no, that does not solve our problem. It's so annoying. I'll explain real briefly. There's part of my regular workflow is the scrubby zoom function, which means as you hold and you move the mouse left to right, it'll zoom in and out. But Photoshop is just has been a real pain with that, and it will randomly turn it off. So as I'm working, I'll randomly zoom in like really far into the painting, and it's just can be sort of a impediment to the overall workflow here. I'm actually just I'm gonna X out of Photoshop here, restart it. One of the difficulties of working with the digital medium, for sure. Boga's sitting in this really weird position over here. She's got her hand tucked under. I can show you real quick. Check this out. What is that? I don't know. This is a very informal stream. Just make sure this camera's in the right position here. There we go. All right. Gone a little off topic here, but let's see if this is working. Yes, here we go. All right. Now let's open that reference again. Let's arrange our workspace again. And here we go. Right back where we started. All right. So we were using this brush to make some nice things over here. Looks like there's some blue in this corner here. That looks really nice. And in this one as well, there's actually some really bright blue going on here. Looks like there's some in the background behind it, so we'll just fill that in and keep working here. There's a little stick here. Let's just kind of work that out. The cool thing with this brush is you can actually, if you have a tablet that supports it, you can change the angle, and just by tilting the brush in a certain way, so that really helps you get some nice different applications with it. So here and there you'll notice I'm pushing the colors a bit more than maybe you would be seeing them in the image, but that's intentional. I really want, oof, that's a nice one. That's a nice strong color. You see this stick down here? It's great, just solid pink. Still keeping it pretty loose and vague. I'm not creating too many hard edges because this is all still part of the background here. Can even warm this up even more. There's just so much color variety here. It's really pretty. It's almost overwhelming. There's another little mushroom guy here that has this bluish core to its shadow. You can see there's that bluish core, and then it has a sort of a nice bright orange reflected light area at the bottom, and that color shows up here too, and a little bit around here. And back here as well. That'll come in handy later on. And then it has this bright, right where the sunlight's hitting it directly. It's just got this. That's a little too yellow. Let's just move that towards the gray. This bright sunlit area here. And that shows up here and there as well. This little circle dot. A little bit here. All right, so it's time just to get some context here. We're probably going to start setting up these mushrooms, since that's the focus of the painting. So let's just go straight to this. The main color here is just that beautiful deep red there. And I want to keep a little bit of texture in these as well. So I'm gonna use this opaque texture brush that I've created. And look at that. It seems intense, but you know, we can dial it back if we need to. I find it's much easier to start with a really highly saturated color and then dial it back later. There's some of that over here as well. It's a bit more of a yellow orange. Actually, now that we have that color, let's set it up here, a little bit here, and there's a bit of it down here. All right, that pretty much takes care of most of the areas where we're seeing that. I've set this up on a new layer, by the way. And you don't have to, but it might come in handy if we need to make some adjustments to our background, or sort of really refine the silhouettes of these mushroom shapes. All right, another key color we're going to see here is this this bluish blue-green gray, I would call it maybe. And I'm not picking colors from here, by the way. You can do that if you want, but I don't. It's not gonna really help you learn how to navigate these very well. It's not gonna help you develop your color sense, which is really what's gonna help you in the long run to create nice artwork. Here I'm using the negative space here at the top to define the boundaries of this mushroom here, and it looks like I need to go up a little more actually. Looks like I need to go up a lot more. Look at that, just keep pushing it. Just gonna create this silhouette. Nice. Yeah, it looks like I think I underestimated the extent to which these colors go up all the way to the middle here. Yep, you can always just keep making adjustments. And yeah, this little spot's right here. Let's take this color again, and let's just keep mapping out this negative space here. It's like this. I can just erase this with this square eraser tool that I made here, and then just start mapping out. Doesn't even have to be the right color right now. Just gonna carefully craft out this negative space, and I think it's looking like this whole thing can be shifted over a little bit to the right. And because I've put it on a new layer, I can do it like that. Go even more. Just pull this back a bit, and let's come back in here. I'm looking at this negative shape down here. That's what I'm painting right now. I'm not painting the top of the mushroom. I'm painting that negative space. All right. I think the color's a bit off, so I'm just gonna introduce a little of this. Maybe some of that there. There's this big foreground mushroom here that's kind of it's got more of a muted orange to it. And again, I'm sort of just painting that negative space around the bottom of the canvas there. Some darker, duller reds here along the top of this mushroom. And since I have that color picked, I might as well start to map out these stalks, because those are very important for understanding how our values and colors are working. So there's some going up here. And I don't think that's really up there. There's some of that over here and down here as well. Notice that this brush is just keeping some. This brush has a color variety and hue and value variation effect on it, which is, I really love that, and that's helping us to create some nice implied texture here as we work. Looks like there's some darker, intense red oranges and stuff here. Nice. There's a little of that there. I'm just kind of bouncing around it in whenever this is just sort of what I do automatically. It's not even really intentional, but whenever I pick a new color, I tend to look for other areas in the painting where I see that color. and I just want to throw them in there, just as kind of almost like a note to myself, like hey, that color's over there. And it's something you can just build on later. It's just a great way to build up the whole painting at once and not get too stuck in one area. And that can also help you create some harmony around your piece. All right, looks like we're missing a very important shape here. Just the edge of this big mushroom here. Let's shift that more towards the blue. Give it a bit more saturation. Seems like, oh yeah, that's right. There's some of that over here too. I see some of that up here, and definitely over here, and a little bit right here, and a little bit right here. Maybe it's not quite so saturated there. It's just some nice highlights. There's a very intense highlight right here, but that's not super important right now. And yeah, notice I'm not really mapping out anything too specific as far as individual objects or anything like that. I'm really just trying to get a general sense for the shapes and where they show up. Looking at it at this point, you might not even really think that these are mushrooms or anything like that, but you do get a sense for the mood of the piece, and see, I think this could be even brighter. This might even be pretty close to the brightest whites we're gonna get for our whole piece. It's this area right here. And this actually, oh look at that. There's a whole other thing I haven't put in here. Looks like this mushroom needs to be moved over a bit, even though it's not even really there yet. Just noticing the distance between these two edges here. A lot of what I'm doing right now is looking at negative space, noticing the relationships between different shapes. Oh, hey, Nick. Nice to see you here. Good day to you as well. Nick, have you done anything for the Evidence Study Challenge yet? I think I may have can't remember if I've seen anything of yours on there yet. There have been quite a few really nice submissions. Looks like there's a little. We can actually, let's take out our. We can start using this a bit more. Normally, I think I would for my workflow. This little lasso tool comes in super handy. Just gonna make sure you remember to hit shift when you're adding something in. Let's just erase that out. And we have a nice crisp negative shape there now. Let's do that for the other side as well. And we can do that for the outside here too. All right. Never I've finished my fungus. Nice. Oh yeah, Inktober. That's right. I think I saw your post about that. I actually have never done that. It sounds really interesting. I mean, I'm not much of a ink artist, but I mean, doing anything for 30 days straight is quite a task. I'm seeing a lot of very sharp textures here, so I might try to smooth some of this out. Let's bring out this mixer brush here. Some little things going on here in the corner. It's good to have a decent variety of texture and smoothness. And this brush here actually has a little bit of both. You can see it has some nice, a little bit of grain to it, which I really like, and that's why I designed it that way. So it's not just totally smoothing everything out. You know, you're seeing some of that texture and that stroke quality as well. I don't know why I'm working so much on this little mushroom here. Sort of, it's not very important to the overall piece. But hey, who am I to say? And you know, a lot of this can be fairly impressionistic if you want. As long as you're getting the idea across. You know, a lot of these little details that I'm painting here may not be extremely important. As long as you're getting the mood across. Oh, Nick, are you a teacher? I don't think I knew that. What, if so, what do you teach or where? Be interested to know. By the way, I've realized that some of my comments can seem confusing if you're if you're only watching on one thing or the other. I'm streaming to both Facebook and YouTube, so I don't know. Maybe I'll eventually just try to consolidate those to YouTube. If you are watching this on Facebook, feel free to let me know if you prefer to keep it there or on YouTube if that's the case. Let me know if you prefer to watch the stream there. It's all good to know for future purposes. At this point, I'll probably just flip it. I have that map to Control H, and see how things are lining up here. It's looking pretty good. Pretty good so far. I'm gonna do a little bit more laying down of color here. Oh, you said 5th year, so that, I don't know, that sounds like a school term. But maybe that's it's just one way to say someone's like a 5-year-old. I'm not sure where you're from, Nick, so maybe we have different versions of English here. But yeah, it's funny. It's actually pretty cool when you're doing a lot of digital art stuff. You do encounter a lot of different. I've met so many different people from different parts of the world, and it's been kind of interesting learning about how things are in different areas, and sometimes how other places perceive the United States, which is usually not good, but whatever, I can't do anything about that. I don't really think I really need to. We'll get a sneeze. Woo. Yeah, it's I get these fall allergies apparently. It's something that's new this year, but I don't know, I guess as you get older these things tend to come up. Not that I'm really yet consider myself older in any way. Still a young pup, but I am older than I was yesterday. That is true. So yeah, these allergies will come up that I never had before. It's very interesting. And in the fall too. I don't get them in the spring, but I think it's like the grass or something. Let's see what's going on. I think this shape is pretty different. Let's just map that out real quick here. This kind of comes over like this. And there's this big negative shape. It's like an orangish color, maybe a bit darker and duller than that. It kind of comes in like this. Like that. And there's a little itty bitty one down here. That's actually pretty intense. It's an intense color. And then what else? Yeah, there's some little itty bitty versions of that here and there. That's kind of, yeah, I think the moss has these little orange bits. That's kind of fun. I think those are the spore little spore packages. And I can't forget about this. It's whatever this is, crumpled leaf. Ah, fifth year of doing the challenge. I see. Dang, well, that's pretty impressive. That makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking. Yeah, good for you, man. I'm gonna start doing something like that. Who was it? Henry. I want to say Henry Wong, but I don't. I think I'm confusing him with someone else. This artist. He does like, oh, he's incredible. Henry Chang, maybe. He does like these very like simplistic, almost geometrical. He's just an incredible painter, but he like brings this. He brings that into a really unique style in the digital medium, where like sometimes he'll just create this really beautiful, like realistic rendering of something, but just using like very simple shapes and color and form. His work is really awesome. But he did this 365-day challenge, I think it was. He made a painting every day for a whole year, and that's pretty impressive. I don't, but that's really how you get good, and that's how you commit to your craft, for sure. I try to put in the time every day. I do at least a half hour of structured targeted practice every day. So, you know, depending upon what my weak spots are, I'll tackle them in some kind of isolated practice. But I definitely don't complete a painting every day, which maybe I will try to do that. Maybe once my album is finished, I'll have a bit more time for that stuff. All right, looks like we've got some shape differences here. I'm looking at the navigator here, and I'm really pleased with how the lighting and everything is coming off at this point. I think it's relatively convincing from a distance. So now it's just a matter of getting these shapes in right and refining things and making sure it's all working well together. Looks like we have sort of another little mushroom shape back here. Some darker saturated reds happening. Should probably use a softer brush for this, actually. since the subject is a lot softer. All right, it's probably time to refine these mushrooms quite a bit more, as they are the focus. Maybe get some of these. It's almost a purple here, down towards the bottom. It's very nice. Where else do I see that? See that a little bit here, and a little bit right here. And since these mushrooms have a nice some nice smooth texture here, I'm actually gonna switch back to my mixer brush and let's introduce a new color here that we maybe have not seen so much of yet. It's this nice bright pink here. Oh, okay, just jumping in the coffee. That's not good. Let her loose on the floor there. She can run around and do her thing. Where else do we see this pink? I think there's some of it right here. Some of it right here. I think that a lot of where we're seeing this is sort of at the edge between where the light is hitting and sort of where the light merges into shadow. We're seeing this nice bright pink, and that's part of the subsurface scattering effect that I was talking about before. Got another little half mushroom here. Or actually, no, that's like the, it's like a collar almost. It's an interesting little feature there. Awesome. Nice to hear that you're following along, Katie. It's fun, man. I love working with these These colors are just so intense. Sound like the double rainbow guy. Ever see that video? I was just thinking about that the other night. That was like when, in the early days of YouTube, back in the old days. It's a double rainbow video guy. Check it out. Look it up. It's part of history. And I'm just noticing a big difference in our values here. Is just that there's some dark things happening in the bottom here. I just want to make sure those are in so we get all of our relative values on point. Even up here as well. Switch back to that nice textured, the textured comb. That's what I've called it. And now it's since we changed our resolution, it's gliding a bit easier here. Now, go in and do a little more texturing around here. Get in. There's this beautiful dark blue down here in the corner. So we can. We can drop off the transfer setting here and get some nice clear strokes happening. We want to have some nice variety. With our different colors. Nice. Some good texture. Let's flip it back again, just to freshen everything up here. Looks like we could use a few more bits of highlights around here. It's very subtle. Oh, there's even a little bit right here. Not nice. I've actually been really liking these brushes that don't have the transfer setting on them, because you can really create some nice texture when when all the strokes are opaque like this. right, let's return back to these mushrooms here. Let's do I think what we really need to do at this point is start defining our edges more clearly. So let's do that. I'm actually going to switch to, I'm used to using this one a bit more. Can you hear Bogus scurrying around on the floor there? All right, close enough. Actually, we can just take this little section out. Maybe add in a bit more here. It's pretty good. So now let's take this brush here and just harden up these edges. And looks like there's a, I don't even know what I would call this color. I would say it's soft, dull, yellow-orange around the bottom here. Something like that. And then we have this red, goes all the way up. Actually becomes a bit more orange as we get up here. We do have some of this. Redness going on here. And we actually have a little bit of a highlight along the side here and on the other side. And let's actually reverse that, and we can erase off any extra edges here. See how that looks? That's pretty good. Just gonna go in and smudge some of these out a little bit. Oh, actually, I think key thing we missed here is just this bit of I don't know if I think it's reflected or it's transparent light that's coming through here. It's really important. And then behind it, there's actually a bit of that as well. Not sure what that is, but it's there. A little bit of brightness. Nice. I like that one. We also have this stick. It's or whatever it is. It's going up from the bottom here. It's coming up like that. There's a little thing shooting out. It actually has a little highlight right there at the top. It's a wet stick. Everything's got some kind of moisture on it at this this level. All right, let's keep moving here. I might as well just merge that down. We don't really need a stick layer. Let's look at this shape here. Goes around like that. There's a little thing, and then I think, oh yeah, this whole stalk actually comes down like that. Let's do something real quick here, just so we can correct that. I think what I'm seeing let's make a big shift here. Copy, paste that. Can shift it over. Actually, yeah, let's merge these two. Let's make that selection again. Copy, paste. Use the free transform. We'll just push this over a little bit like that. So I think that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, I think that's more proportional to what we have. So let's go back in there again, and we don't have to worry too much about this. We can just sort of smooth that out. We're not gonna see it. This too. Maybe what we could have done. I think we sort of messed things up more than I meant to. All right, let's maybe we'll just select this. Maybe add this little bit at the bottom. We'll copy paste that. Let's warp it. So this comes out here. Close enough. Just merge that down. And all right, let's go back into this shape. Still need to move it over just a bit, but it's okay. This is pretty much a straight line over here, so I'm just gonna let it be a straight line. This comes under here. She's eating something. Put her back over here. All right, where were we? Let's just highlight these ones for now. It's not totally proportional, but good enough. And let's just start messing around with these. Looks like there's a bit of a highlight on the bottom. Make sure we get that nice warm yellow here. This highlight comes around here. They kind of merge together up here a little bit. And then we have a bit of this this pinkness going on here. Use a bit of our smooth brush for some of this. Let's grab this sort of reflected sky blue here. Start mapping it in, start creating some texture around here. It's a nice reflected color here. And some of this reddish brown as well. Okay, I'm gonna move you away from the computer. It's like having a scaly child, you know, you just have to be constantly hey, don't do that. Put that away. Stop eating that. Just all the time. Looks like there's a nice highlight right here. We haven't put in yet. And there's this blue again. Looks like we've got a little bit of that brighter, more saturated sky blue right here, and some more grayish stuff happening around the corner. top, it looks like this is in shadow. Like a tiny highlight right here. All right, now what we can do is invert that. Go around with the eraser and clean it up a little bit. Or another color if you haven't done this on a different layer. Just sort of work on the other side of it. All right, so that's cleaned up our edges quite a bit there. Looks like there's some highlights we missed in there, so let's just grab our pencil here, and we can fill them right in. Nice little bits here. It's just going to help us make things a bit more convincing. Like there's actually some light hitting these areas. Looks really nice. Can even let's take this pink first and get the edges of this this little highlight here. We can go back to our other highlight color, fill in the middle. I'll give it a nice little light refraction effect there. Let's flip it, take another look here. looks like we've got some highlights in this area as well. And under here. Just gonna help us create a nice little dappled sunlight effect. Even have some little bits of highlights along this edge. I barely notice them, but make sure we get in all our shadows as well. Do a bit of drawing. It's one of the great things about working digitally is you can switch back and forth between drawing and painting pretty easily. I think this big mushroom at the top needs some work, because that's kind of, it's almost our focal point here, I think, is how I would describe it. So we just want to make sure our shape's looking good, got some nice textures going on, all that kind of stuff. There's even some spider webs underneath it. I don't know if you can see those, but that's a pretty cool element that maybe we could expand upon a little bit. First, let's get these highlights in here. Just use this textured brush to just create a little bit of variation around those. Actually, maybe let's use that dry brush, perhaps. Really get those highlights popping off. I'm actually just gonna, maybe not. There's a little bit of red here at the top. There's some darker grayish things happening here at the edge. There's a nice, it's almost a part of a semicircle here. You can see the curve come around that other side. There's some little dark spots around here where the different light sources are transitioning. It's going from the direct sunlight to the ambient glow of the sky above. In that transition, you can see all these interesting little colors happening. I'm pushing these colors a lot more than perhaps they would appear. But that's just what I like to do. Especially around a focal area like this, where I really want to draw a lot of attention. Let's get this nice saturated orange area right underneath. And then that sort of becomes a bright yellow right around the edge there. Really bright. Some really intense red under here as well. And then we have our highlights around the edge. There's even a little highlight underneath here. And over the top. And along this edge as well. And we can reverse that selection. Control-Shift-I. Pull out our eraser. Just clean up any edges we have left over. Nice. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to come up on wrapping this one up. So let's think about what we want to do for finishing touches. First, let's look at this layer we set up here before. Let's return to that. Let's see if we can recreate that brush we made earlier. Let's go to. Let's start with the watercolor as a template, and let's give it a nice. Get rid of that. Get rid of the texture. Get rid of the shape dynamics. And we can add that transfer back in. Okay, perfect. I'm actually just going to save this in case we need to use it in a minute. Let's call it focal brush. All right. So all those little circles back there, we can start creating them like this. This isn't something you have to do, but it can be a nice nice little photo effect almost. Can actually set this on linear dodge. That'll probably help us create a more convincing thing here. More convincing lighting. See a couple up here. It's actually just one thing, and what this does is it sort of simulates the effect of a camera being or like objects in the distance being captured on a camera that are out of focus. And the closer in they get, the smaller the circle's going to be. Oh, this one's a bit of a mess down here, but so now we have all these fun circles happening. We have this whoops. We have this nice light ray effect here, so we can simulate that a little bit. Let's put this on linear dodge. Oh, and what I've realized, I've put this all over everything else we've already done, but it's not a problem really. Can actually let's make a new layer. We'll just start doing some lighting effects here. Create some of this kind of stuff. Whoops. There it goes again. Yep, let's keep making this lighting. Not sure when that happened, but let's just clean that up a little bit. That doesn't matter. What else can we do lighting wise? Let's grab a dark yellow. This area pop a little bit, and oh, here's a fun thing we can do. We can this is a fun little trick. Let's select color range here. Let's select this brightest one, and this will select only our brightest highlights here. First of all, let's take our levels and just make those as bright as they can possibly be. Actually, I think that'll work. Then what we can do is we can copy and paste those into a new layer, and then create a inner glow or an outer glow depending upon how intense you want the bloom to be. But let's take this inner glow and let's move it to let's say on a really highly saturated red or orange, something like this. Let's make it high opacity here. Whoa, there we go. Had it on the wrong mode here. Take that down a little bit. Less noise. Bring down the size way down here. Maybe let's switch this to an outer glow. Yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. Let's say that's on linear dodge. Let's make this like that. Notice how it's a pretty intense effect already, but I want to dial that down a little bit. Just make some little adjustments here. And I'll give us some really nice, lighting effects. And then if we want, I mean that's a little overboard, but it kind of gets the idea across here. If we want, we can start painting in new areas here. It's just where we want to have that same highlight effect, and that layer will mask will automatically be applied. So we can create these. So you can almost create this really cool light brush layer. Where you can create all these nice little highlights, and they all have their own light bloom effect. Let's take a little pencil here. We can just start painting in some more realistic highlights wherever we want. We can also erase out areas that maybe we don't really want to have those intense highlights present if we don't want them. But like right here, I want to have some of that there, so I can just paint that in and it looks pretty cool. I mean, you can play with this all day. It's so fun. It's like you're literally just painting light. We have this big circle here I didn't notice before, so we can throw that in. We can even use this to create these these spider web strands here. Some of those up here. Another one right here. Maybe they don't all need that glow. We can do that on a lower layer here, but sort of chop them up a little bit. And yeah, sure, let's put in a few more of those actually. I think they're kind of nice. Really gives you the impression we're working on a small scale here. And let's see if there's anywhere else we want to put this nice glow effect. Oh yeah, looks like we missed a spot down here. Right underneath. And see immediately, like look down here, you can see there's already some orange glow being applied around it. A nice little light bloom effect. All right, I think that's pretty much all I want to do for this one. Oh, maybe there's I think with this grass texture, maybe there's a few more highlights, and I think this needs some shadows in here as well. So I'm just gonna paint in some little dark spots. Other than that, though, I think this is pretty much where I want it to be. I think it's looking pretty good overall. Yeah. All right, so let's, I mean, you can see the comparison here. They're not completely alike, but I think the mood is getting across, the texture is getting across, and it's enough information to create a nice looking painting here. So let's just blow this up so you can see the full thing on the screen. And there's also, yeah, like a lot of nice textural information here too, which is helping us to create a lot of interest, a lot of nice lighting cues. Yeah, I like this one. So I think that'll be it for today. Thank you for those of you that have tuned in for today's stream. I'll be posting this on the Evident Design Group Challenge board there. So again, if you've been following along or you have your own study you want to do today, I encourage you to post it there. And until next time, I'll see you next week.